All right, so this is a tutorial for doing stormwater inspections, specifically for a detention basin. I picked this one. This one needs to be re-inspected, but this is a good one because I know it's maintained semi-regularly, like cleaned out, and it's usually doesn't have that many problems. It did rain somewhat recently, so there is a little bit of standing water that I can see, but we'll get to that in a minute. So I'm following the Van Cleef Engineering Associates inspection report that I helped put together. I basically adapted I adapted a DEP and the Rutgers Cooperative Extension's example or sample for an inspection form, and I kind of adjusted it a little bit and I turned it into like a report setup. So this is what our report looks like. If you're doing a inspection that's not for Van Cleef Engineering Associates, you might have a different report set up. But anyway, so what I've got here, right? Basically the first page is the table of contents. I have a nice aerial photograph of what the detention basin looks like from the sky. And then I also have a few features labeled, all right? So like 1 is this, 2 is that. All right, 4, emergency spillway, 5, outfall area. And then you can see there's numbers labeled there. I also have the table of contents includes the report, site photos, and the conclusion. All right, so from here, the first thing that you're gonna do when you get to a site is fill out this information. All right, you know, all of this is already filled out. The only thing I'm gonna have to do is the temperature weather conditions. I'm going to look up when I get back to the office the 72-hour rainfall for the past 3 days rain, and I'm going to put that there. And then I'm going to change the date. Obviously, it's not 2020 anymore. But all of this stuff is the same. Now, if I was doing this for the first time, I would get the basin size approximately. Maybe I would approximate that with Google Earth. Is it accessible? I would fill out the stuff. I'd note down the number of inlets and also what the size of the inlets are, the outlet diameter, and then you start off with your general observations, all right? So I'm going to go from here, going through general observations. Okay, so entering the basin, there's a couple of things I'm going to be looking at. First, you've got your general observations. So I can see that it's being maintained, right? I can still see some mow lines. There is a little bit of water right here, but again, that's because it's been raining recently and the ground is probably fairly saturated. The fencing is all in pretty good condition. There is like a small section back there that's slightly broken. That's something I would make note of. Are there any unauthorized structures? It doesn't look like it. Any malfunctioning structures? Doesn't look like it. Evidence of subsidence or sinkholes? No. Standing water, I already mentioned that. Fencing, yep, I already mentioned that. All right, after you're looking at your general observations, you're gonna look for the inlets, right, where the water's coming into the basin. So what I would do is I'd come over here, I would take a picture, like a large scale picture, and then I would maybe take a close-up of the actual inlet structure. I'm basically looking for, are there signs of breakage, damage, corrosion, rusting? Is there debris or sediment accumulation? Signs of erosion, scour, gullies? Are there trees like right above it that could potentially impact the inlet structure? Does it have a pre-treatment structure, right? Is there a screen in front of the hole? Is it clogged? You know, that kind of thing. And if fencing exists, oh, sorry, that's for general. And then finally, the last thing is the inlet in good working condition? So something like this, again, pretty clean. There's not really any type of corrosion or anything happening. I mean, it is a little bit old, so the concrete is slightly degrading, but not really that much. There's no sediment accumulation in front of it. It looks pretty good. I mean, there's some separation happening here, but that's, you know, relatively minor as far as the function of the inlet is concerned. The fencing is all in good condition. And so that's something I would note. Then I would go over to the other inlet and I would do the same thing. I'd look at that stuff. All right, after the inlets, I'm going to the next page, hang on. All right, so basin, right? Just the basin in general, the bottom of the basin. Is there an accumulation of debris or litter? All right, I don't see any debris or litter. There are some fallen leaves that I might make note of. exposed dirt or earth visible? Are there areas without vegetation? So no, the grass cover is pretty throughout, is pretty present throughout. There's no issues there. Is there excess sediment accumulation in the basin? Again, no, I don't see any excess sediment accumulation. The only thing I would maybe make note of are the leaves and the accumulation of leaf litter and pine needles in the actual low flow channels. All right. Basin walls, embankment eroded, slumping, caving. No, it doesn't look like any of the walls are eroded. Everything looks good. And then finally, is the basin in good working condition? I would definitely say yes. All right. Finally, we get to, not finally, but next we get to the outlet structure. So this is the outlet structure. Again, I would take a picture of the outlet structure. I would take a close-up picture of this area where you can see there's a little bit of debris. I would try my best to get in here and take a picture of the interior components to see if there's any issues in there. All right, sometimes you can open up this top panel. It looks like here you should be able to, right? So it looks like here you can open this up if you wanted to. Sometimes I'll take a picture from the top of the basin as well, taking a look down at everything. I forgot to mention, you do want to take a picture of the basin in general, not only to include on the front of the report, but also just to, get a general idea of how the basin bottom is functioning. And again, with the outlet structure, I'm looking for a few things. I'm looking for signs of breakage, damage, corrosion, debris or sediment accumulation. And again, this would be some debris sediment accumulation here that I would make note of. Tree roots or woody vegetation impacting the structures, signs of erosion, scour, gullies. If the trash rack is damaged or cluttered with debris. So again, that's kind of what I mentioned before. It's not damaged, but it is cluttered with debris. And then finally, is it in good working condition? I would definitely say this is in good working condition because there is water that's able to flow through the outlet structure. I would just make a note of the debris that should be removed on the next scheduled maintenance. All right, after that, you're looking at the emergency overflow. All right, so the emergency overflow, most basins will have them. Some older basins, the emergency overflow will be a part of the outlet structure. It'll basically just have some type of open top or something like that. In this case, our emergency overflow is, let me walk so you can see a little bit better. Our emergency overflow is here, right? It starts over in this general area, it dips down slightly, and it comes back up by the outlet structure. Basically, this area is where the water would overflow if this basin were to fill up. Now, normally you don't want large trees in the emergency overflow, but in my opinion, I mean, these trees are separate enough that it allows your spillway to function properly. Also, there's a pretty low likelihood of this particular basin overtopping. I mean, again, I suppose it's possible, but also the outlet structure is designed to let in a good amount of water. And if this basin is overtopping, I mean, those trees are not going to be the biggest issue. This town is going to be completely flooded. Anyway, so usually you don't want trees in the spillway. Again, these two trees I think are okay. I don't think they really impact the function of this emergency overflow. A couple other things I'm looking for are pipes, conduits, and conveyances free of visible debris. Large tree or root structure close to pipes or conveyances. Signs of erosion, scour, gullying. Is the spillway in good working condition? Again, I would say yes, I think it is in good working condition. Then the basin outfall area. So the outfall area is tricky. Sometimes the outfall area for the detention basin is going to be your municipal separate storm sewer system. In that case, I would just try to take pictures of where the basin lets out and make a note of it. In this case, I'm going to walk over here real quick. In this case, I know that the basin exits through a pipe and there's a catch basin, right? A storm inlet over there on the road. I would basically go up to that inlet, take a picture of the exterior, and then take a picture of the interior and make a note that that's the outfall area for the basin. Some basins will drain directly into a water course, or they'll have like maybe a rock lined overflow or something, like a rock line channel that they'll drain to. Again, you would just want to take pictures of that and you're basically looking, if you look at here, right, signs of exiting basin in an uncontrolled manner, signs of erosion, scour, gullying, debris, sediment accumulation, breakage, damage, corrosion, rusting. Is the outfall pipe or the outfall area in good condition? Once you've done all of that and you've taken all your pictures, you're going to want to put the pictures in the report. Something like this: shown above is this structure, shown above is that structure, right? You're going to want to label it, making it easy for people to identify. If you notice anything, right? So for example, if you notice that there's some debris accumulation, you should make note of that underneath the picture and identify it. You can see here, this is where the outfall area is. I already took the pictures from last time. I will take new ones this time, but that's what that looks like. I'm just sticking my hands into the catch basin and taking a picture of where the basin is draining to. And then finally, at the end of your inspection report, you're going to make some type of conclusion. The conclusion should include any of the corrective maintenance that needs to occur. In this case, this old report, you know, I was discussing some sediment buildup in the low flow channels that should be removed. But overall, I said the basin is in satisfactory working condition because, you know, at that time there wasn't a huge accumulation of sediment and debris. Another thing you may want to include is a disclaimer statement, right? Van Cleef has a disclaimer statement at the end, just saying that, you know, our inspection includes the condition at the time of the inspection, right? If something crazy, some crazy hurricane were to happen tomorrow and somehow, you know, the outlet structure completely got destroyed, you know, we wouldn't be certifying that it's good. It was only from our inspection. So again, some type of statement like that, a disclaimer statement, is usually good to include just to cover yourself in the event of a potential, you know, I don't know, lawsuit or something like that. But anyway, that's kind of how the detention basin inspection goes. Again, I would take pictures of all of these features. I would take pictures of this. I would make comments where necessary. And, you know, I would also look at some of the resources provided by New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection, or from another state, if you're from another state, right? You know, I would look at what they say for inspections. A lot of the time, the best management practices manual will have details on maintenance and inspections, and, you know, what features should be functioning in what way. So, you know, definitely refer to those references, those resources, whenever they're available. And good luck. All right. Thanks for listening. Another thing I forgot to mention about detention basin inspections is you should also check out the catch basins that are leading to the detention basin. So, for example, I would take a picture of the catch basin, and then I would also put my phone in the catch basin, make sure this is clear. Obviously, there's a little bit of debris here. You can see that there's some tree branches and some of the snowplow, you know, indicators that fell in there that should be removed. Also, I'm noticing that this detention, or this catch basin, you know, doesn't have the trash screen on it. That's something I might recommend. But again, I would go to any of the catch basins and look inside those, take pictures, because again, that stuff is relevant to the detention basin. But yeah, ultimately, you just want to make sure you're following the procedure, following the report that's set up for you, whether you're using the Van Cleef inspection report or whether you have your own inspection report. Again, most BMP manuals or most states should have some type of procedure put together for them. If they don't, just read through the administrative code to find out what the reports are supposed to include, or what the inspections are supposed to include. Finally, just a couple other things that might help you in creating an inspection report. You may want to ask about the operation and maintenance manual. Every stormwater facility, at least in the state of New Jersey, and I imagine most elsewhere too, should have a operation and maintenance manual for their stormwater facilities. You can read through that, and that usually includes some information about inspection, corrective and preventative maintenance, that you can reference in the report. Finally, having a set of plans, a set of design plans or as-built plans for the facility that you're inspecting is usually a good idea. I don't recall if I have the plans for this detention basin. I think I might somewhere in our job folder. But fortunately, this detention basin is pretty straightforward, right? I can identify all the features relatively easily without having to review the plans. But there are cases where you have an old overgrown detention basin, and if you're doing the inspection, you may not know where some of the features are. So having a set of plans can really help out in finding the location of all of the different features of the detention basin. So definitely having a set of plans is a benefit if you can acquire them. Other than that, I think that's everything, and have a great day.